Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play for Football Manager 2023 as we continue our run here, a Road to Glory run with Banbury United F.C. no longer in the Vanarama National League. We are finally making it into league play, but let's go over our extremely good season in the Vanarama National League and start getting into some of the transfers. This is a very, very important episode for us. Let's get into it. All right, here we are, Banbury United end of season review for the 2026-2027 season. Confetti flying all around. All things are very good for us. Let's take a look at our new arrivals. Holding, obviously an extremely good person we picked up for, and we paid a little bit of money for him, but he proved himself and was on a 7.33 rating. Gilsonen, he didn't play that many games there at the end, but he showed up and did what he needed to do. So good stuff from him. We got him on a free. Brandon Charles, didn't really get enough of a reaction from him. Holding, we got an A+ for. Brandon Charles got a B-. He actually started showing up there at the end there. We saw a lot of stuff from him in that Shadow Striker role. And with the Salisbury moving on, Brandon Charles might be somebody we need to look forward towards the future. Richie actually got a poor rating here. Really? How do you give me a poor rating for a guy that got 20 goals and 4 assists and we only paid £8,000 for him? What? Okay, I highly disagree with the board on that one. Rico Brown, doing all right. Only played 5 games. We actually, surprisingly enough, to get a rating for him. But he's starting to look okay. We'll see what he does for us. And then we have several guys down here at the bottom. Kai Jones on a C. Vickers, B-. Impressive. Harry Jones, B-. Obviously, Goddard, that was a pretty good pickup for us. I mean, he played reasonably well. Brooke, B+. We actually got a decent rating for him on a free. Harrington, C. Clark, not enough to see anything, I guess, apparently. I don't know. And then Price, again, another loanee, which apparently they liked, but I wasn't super impressed. Transfers out. Salisbury. They're content with it. I guess that's about as best I can say as well. That actually, I forgot about that we did put a sell-on clause there, a percentage clause. That could mean we could end up getting a lot of money down the road. I want to say it was 40%, like something crazy. At least 30%, I think. Yeah. Because if he's worth a couple $1,000,000 and they're going to give us a percentage of the profit, then that could end up being a lot of money. Pinchard, only a C. Robertson, a C. Bailey, a C. Nolan, a C. C+ for Jacob. So Jacob, we just released. We completely just got rid of him. Jeffries did okay on his loan. 6.9 run rating. Collins did all right. I don't think either of these guys are going to stick around. Coyote has a future for us, potentially. 11 goals for him. I mean, he's still developing. He's still got some potential. We'll see. If nothing else, he's a guy that we can develop up, hopefully to sell on. Matthew Hall has a little tiny bit of potential, right? He's only got up to 3 stars. Not really worth anything right now. I doubt we get anything for him. And Riley, it's about time to let him go. Obviously, A+ from the board there. C for that one, C for that one. So, I wish we could have done more, but it is what it is. Final position, first place. Average home attendance was 2,000 fans. Only 51% full. Top goal scorer was Pollock, as you would expect, based on how he played early on in the season. I wish he'd kept that 21 goals average throughout the rest of the season because he would have been on like 30+ goals easy. Biggest win was against Exeter, 6-1 with Pollock getting a hat trick in that one. Match to remember was a 4-1 win over FC Halifax. Goals all around in that one. And the goal of the season came in against York. Oh, is it actually going to be the Gillen and York goal? But we just saw that in the last episode. We'll go look at it again. That was a screamer of a goal. Absolutely worth goal. It's funny that it got goal of the season. I thought for a second there it might. Absolute screamer. It's going to be the last one that we see here in a minute. That's a good goal from Aykroyd, though. Good goal. And then we'll see one here for York, unfortunately. Or at least a couple from York. There's one easy goal for them, unfortunately. That's really sad to see. Here's the corner kick. Follow up from Gilson. That's not it. And it's the next one. Here's the one from Gilson right here. Aykroyd gets it over to Brooke. Brooke hits it up to Gilson. And he just rockets it. Oh, such a good goal from him. So lucky. And here's the consolation goal for York. But yeah, no, that was incredible. Incredible goal. Good to see. Might have earned Gilson a chance to stick around into next season. Sponsorships went up a little bit this season. Broadcast revenue went down a little bit. Corporate and hospitality went up quite a bit. Competition prize money went down. Was actually stayed the same, actually. Match day commercial retail actually went up by 50%. It's pretty good. Getting a little bit of money from that. I would expect more sponsorships coming into this next season now that we're moving into more professional play. It's interesting that our reputation couldn't go up anymore. And then Brooke getting really... That is surprising to me. Maybe I guess his reputation is just that high. Brooke getting up there. I'm not surprised about Richie. I'm not surprised about Harkin. Obviously Pollock, and then Charles picking up there at the end. No, a lot of this does make this right here makes sense. This one not so much. Obviously, I think if Salisbury had stuck around and still been ours, I'm assuming he would have been up there. But because he moved on, I'm assuming that's why he's not on this list. How we lined up, obviously, the 4-2-3-1 was our primary. Although again, going into next season, we'll probably just move this guy back here down to the defensive midfielder. We'll still have this formation available if we feel like we need to switch to it. But I think we need to play a little bit more defensive-minded in the league up. We're going to be major underdogs. If we weren't underdogs this season, we absolutely will be next season. Harrington, McAvoy, Holding, Jones, Aykroyd, and Rowe. Interesting that Rowe gets the spot there. Goddard, really. I'm kind of surprised about Goddard as well. Richie, Charles. I'm also surprised about the Charles one. And, of course, Salisbury. I mean, I expect that, but that's interesting, some of this. Of course, Salisbury's only shown for 10 games for us because his stuff reset when we sold him on. We did get the Vanarama National League Manager of the Month for both March and August. Awesome stuff there. Fans Player of the Season was Pollock. The Young Player of the Season was Holding. Signing of the Season was Holding. Goal of the Season was the one that we saw from Gilsonen. Top goal scorer, again, was Pollock. Harkin picking up the most assists. Richie picking up the most Player of the Match awards. Hopefully we can keep him around. Highest average rating, Holding. And then most passes completed was Hayes Green. Record breakers, Harkin gets the most assists by player in a season. Most league goals by a player was Pollock with 103 goals. And that may be it for him. That may be all we ever see from Pollock in a Banbury United shirt. But 103 goals, beating the century mark. That's a pretty good career for someone who's only 24 years of age. I think he moves on to, maybe he goes on to Buxton or some team like that down there, either Vanarama National or Vanarama National North or South. And I think he goes on and he scores 250 goals, 300 goals in his lifetime. He's a really good player, just not at our level, unfortunately. Highest paid transfer fee was $30K for Salisbury. That we received. Obviously, there's another $30K on top of that. And then the big thing is the sell-on percentage, which we need to go check out and see what that is. Hard work and effort paid off on the pitch, and such feat didn't go unrewarded at our end of season's reward ceremony. And we just destroyed the league, even with a couple losses that we just accepted there at the end because we're basically trialing people. We still won with 9 points. It was a superb season for the Puritans, who exceeded expectation throughout the campaign and claimed a deserved title. Absolutely. Buxton who? Remember when we played at Buxton for a whole minute? And there was this other team that I didn't remember the name of them. Chelmsford. That's right, Chelmsford. Yeah. And then we came on and we have just made some things look really good for Banbury United. We've won the Vanarama National North. And then we have now won the Vanarama National League. Right. So that's cool, actually. Right after, where is it? Yeah. Right after getting our 100th, or right after this win, we got our 100th match as a manager for Banbury. So this is my 100th match as a manager. I was misreading this. So this is our 100 games total as our manager, right after we won that. And then we got our 200 games in charge as a manager right before this one. So I guess we need another 100 games before we win the next one. Is that how this is going to go down? Why are all these the same? I'm so confused about this. What? Something's goofy there. We're around the 200 mark. That's all I know. Players inducted into a Banbury overall best 11 squad. Sam Blair actually was the pick, and he's actually the starting goalkeeper. I guess, I mean, when your other one is Matthew Hall, I guess that makes sense. And then Callum Rowe getting in here as a backup. Hayes Green getting in here as a backup. Where is he at? Oh, no, I'm sorry. He gets in as a starter, as a midfielder. Surprising. Actually, this is a defensive midfielder, isn't it? So it's interesting that's showing us that. And then Aykroyd getting in here also as a starter. Okay, very fascinating that we see some of that. Obviously, Pollock's still in here. Unfortunately, Salisbury was not around long enough to get into this, but I think he probably would have. What else we got? Supporter update. Look at that. Huge boost in our social media following. 3.4K, so what's it at? About 33% increase from what we had before. That's pretty impressive. Casual, fair weather going up, core going down a little bit. See how all that plays out. Club visions and expectations. So, what in the world? They want us to play possession football, high tempo, entertaining, play attacking football, work within the wage budget, maximum 1-year contracts for players over the age of 33. Hopefully we have very few of those. And they want us to avoid relegation from the Skybet League 2. I don't blame them. That's probably about as far as they were going to be able to expect. But they do want us to become established the year later. Wow. They expect us to be... You better give me some money then, guys. If you want me to be established in that league, you better give me some money. We'll just accept it. I'm not negotiating it. I'm okay with all that. We'll come back to that here in a second. Nothing really here that I'm seeing. Are we just not going to get any money? I guess not. Oh, what do we say to these guys? I mean, that's realistic. I think this is probably realistic right here. Some pleased, some hurt. Some of the guys that are hurt, I don't like. I don't think I'm being... I mean, I hate that these guys are being insulted. I don't care about Blair as much. Charles, Brooke, and Richie, I do kind of wish they were a little bit more. I hear and respect your views. I guess that's fair. We'll discuss promises later. I mean, it's unfortunate to see a little bit of downcast from some of these guys, but hopefully they come back later and we'll see where we're at from them. If we get a good summer, then maybe we'll raise expectations a little bit. But... And it's good to see that some of our better players are the ones that are expecting more from us. So there's always a positive there. So we're moving to the completely Suzuki Stadium. What is that? Whose is that? Oh, Cheltenham. Okay. 7,000 capacity. I don't know if we'll fill that up, but good to know. They're actually a League 2 team as well. That's going to be interesting then, right? Because they are... Did I just miss them? Oh, they're up there. So we're going to be in a stadium. We're renting a stadium from a team in the same league as us, which does mean that home game and away games are kind of irrelevant because we're playing in front of the same basic fans, I guess. I guess it just means that one team gets to sell a few more tickets than the other and where your fans actually sit. But it's interesting that that's what's happening here. I assume, though, we will be building our own stadium at some point. Coyote still has so much potential. I really hope he starts to live up to that. But, I mean, to be fair, he's been off on loan a few seasons and is still only at 2 stars. Billy Terrell, actually, you know what? Maybe he's our goalkeeper for this next season up. 3-star, he might actually be better than what's his name? I've already forgotten his name. He doesn't mean anything to me. I'm sorry. What am I looking for? Squad. Starts with an R, right? Blair. No, it's Blair. Okay, I was trying to say Riley, but it's a different guy. Blair. I mean, Blair's showing up as better, but... He just didn't do good. Really, other than those two, everybody else can kind of just move along at this point. There's Brooke and Gilsonen. So I'm going to get some sort of word about a better update about finances for next year. I was really hoping that this is not their final say. It looks like it might be. We'll see. I'm going to put a quick pause in here or quick skip in here. We'll come back once we get a little more information. If we do get another update on the finances, I will show you that. And then we'll start showing you some of the transfer stuff. All right. Preseason just started like a day or two ago. So that is coming up. We're about to play our first preseason game here very soon. It's really nice to be able to finally set up some training schedules. We actually have actual full schedules in place, which is awesome. I wanted to show you a little bit of the transfer stuff going on. Not really much is going on, to be honest. We got a bunch of those guys from Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea that I talked to you about before. These are just a bunch of really all the same kind of story. 2.5 star players, maybe sometimes occasionally 3-star players, but with like 5-star potential. So we brought a lot of these guys in for very, very, very cheap. We talked about that in the last episode, I think, or at the beginning of this one. I can't remember. We have brought in a couple more players of a similar kind of vein. We brought in St. Louis here on a free transfer. He's a 2-star player, could go as high as 4.5 stars on his potential. I mean, he's actually got pretty good dribbling, finishing, first touch. So I really like that about him. Not super great on the physicals right now, but obviously he's still still pretty young, 21 years old. So there's still a chance for him to get into that. 6 foot tall. I mean, it's not too bad. Jumping reach 12, headings 14. That's really good. So I think there is a place for him in the team. I mean, he does come in currently as our pretty far down on this list. But if you look at the potential list, he's a little bit higher on that list. So we brought him in. He's actually going to be, as of right now, I have him slotted as our second string goalkeeper or goal scorer or whatever. Mostly because Brandon Charles will a lot of times play as an attacking midfielder when we play that formation. If not, Brandon Charles may sneak into that spot a bit. Vickers comes in here as kind of a shadow striker as well. Again, if he's not playing, he might play up here at the striker just to gain some game time. And then a lot of these other guys play more on the wings than anything. They can play in the middle, but they're going to play on the wings. Heckman actually is going to be playing as a striker. And he technically has a little bit more potential than St. Louis, according to this chart. Although when I looked at him a second ago, they're both identical. And I do like St. Louis's. He's got more of a heart shape. Let's put it that way. He's got the striker stats that we do like a lot of things on. Whereas Heckman's not quite there on those. So we'll see which one of those actually starts developing the way we want it to. But that is where we're at on them. And then we brought in Campbell here. He's a bit older. He's 27 years of age. Still, actually, he's pretty much at his potential. But he comes in here as just a strong 3.5 star, solid midfielder option for us. We needed somebody in there. He comes in as just behind Brooke, basically our second best midfielder. So it's basically, as of right now, going to be Brooke and Campbell starting in our midfield. He is what he is. We are paying a bit more for him, £700 per week, but we didn't pay anything up for him up front. So there's that. He's not played well, but we needed somebody in that slot. And unfortunately, unlike the Vanarama National League or any of the other non-league stuff, we do have a deadline for when we can do transfers in this league. So we got to get people in we can. If this guy just ends up being a very expensive backup, well, then maybe we can transfer him out at midseason or something like that. We'll see. £700 per week is not terrible at this level, quite frankly. It's terrible for us. By the way, bad news, nothing changed. Our wage was what our wage was. And worse than that, they didn't even give us enough money to scout the league we're in, if I remember correctly. Or no, maybe they just barely got enough to scout the league we're in. They gave us more scouting money last year at £87,000 than they did this year. And that was my mistake for not dropping that immediately. So, or last couple years even, not dropping this immediately. So we have very little money to scout with, unfortunately. So that's going to make it extremely hard for us to bring players in. We've just got to get the players that we can. You did see here that I do have a bunch of players coming in on trial. A lot of these are older players that just got released by the Premier League teams. We're going to give them a chance to see what they look like. But yeah, I mean, our team is... There's a lot of potential in our team. We'll just say that. There is a lot of potential in our team. Not a lot of current ability. So really not much else to say other than that. Like I said, I've been going through setting up a lot of the training stuff, getting that growing. Other than that, there's really, like I said, there's just nothing else to say. I can go ahead and show you. Here's the full squad at the moment. I've actually got Blair as our backup goalkeeper. Honestly, I'm going to give McNabb a start. I mean, if we get him trained up quickly enough, he will far surpass Blair, in my opinion. I guess if he starts to struggle, we just bring Blair in. That's fine. Terrell, we're going to try and loan back out. He's too good to leave on the bench. We need to loan him back out because he will eventually, I think, be better than Blair as well. We could start him out now, but McNabb just also has still more potential than that. Brown comes in here as our primary central defender at the moment, alongside Holding that we've seen before. Hayes Green moves up to a defensive midfielder spot with Aykroyd right behind him. And like I said, Brooke and Campbell in our midfield. Richie should not be here. I don't know why he's still on this list. No, this would not be Richie. You know what? It was for this one that we updated it. Yeah, Richie's not on that one. So I'm kind of looking at both of them because at the end of the day, these are very similar other than this row right here. This row moves back here. So Richie, he's still on this list for some reason. Is that because, yeah, he's not on this list. Moore comes in as our primary guy with Nuttall behind him. They're both 2 stars, but they have, some decent potential ahead of them. So we're going to see what they can do with Richie, like I said, becoming our primary striker this year. I mean, we know he can score. we will see. Other than that, I'm not feeling confident with the wage budget that we have. I'm not feeling confident at all. The team that came up with us is Colchester, which we're way below them on overall. What am I trying to say? We're way below them on our expenditures as well. We knew that from last season, right? Of course, we did beat them last season while being low on expenditures. So maybe I shouldn't hold too much against it. But yeah, we're dead last by far. Like we're a third below I think the next highest team, or maybe like half of the next highest team. So we are in an extremely bad spot because the team that came up with us was one of the best paying teams in the league below before. That means that we're not going to have a team down there with us that is low paying. Now, there's only 2 teams that get relegated. We've only got to beat 2 other teams. So there is that, I suppose. But I think it's going to be a tall order with the amount of pay that we've got coming in. All right, I got a lot more business to go do. I'm going to go try and take care of some of that. Like I said, we've got a bunch of transfers we're trying to bring in. We also have, I got another goalkeeper potentially coming in here. He's 2.5 stars current ability. It could be as high as 5 stars. He would probably take the lead potentially ahead of McNabb. We'll see. I'll have to kind of look at it side by side. At this point, I'm just throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. You know, we got another guy, Henry, that he's not looking super great. Truth be told, I might end up canceling this. I'm not super impressed with what he's looking like. I think I'm going to cancel that one actually. Bennett comes in here as a midfielder. He's looking quite a bit better. In fact, I would much rather have Bennett than Henry. We've got O'Reilly coming in here as a option on the wings. Definitely a much better option than some of the other ones, or at least as good an option as some of the other ones we've seen. And like I said, a whole bunch of trials. We're trying to, we decided not to loan Coyote out. We actually said no, and then I guess he said no as well, which is strange. But the team that we were loaning him out to, they only wanted to play him as a fringe player. I decided that is not good enough. Yeah, I don't know about this guy. I may change my mind about this guy. I mean, let's do a comparison real quick. Compare with McNabb, because these are the 2 guys going to be competing. I mean, they are good in different areas, which is strange, but they are relatively even, to be honest. I mean, honestly, I think I still give McNabb the overall edge. Better communication, maybe not quite as good on distribution, but that can be trained up. Physicals are a little bit better on McNabb. Speed's about the same. Mental's a little bit worse, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I give the edge to McNabb. He is younger, so he has a higher chance of reaching his potential. They're both from Scotland. Go figure. So maybe I don't bring Mahady in here, especially on that pay. Yeah, I think we got to go with McNabb. We're going to cancel that one, and we're also going to cancel Henry. I just don't think either one of those is going to be what we're looking for. We have some budget. We still got a little bit of money there. It's not much, and obviously we are extremely in the hole. What that extremely in the hole is, as far as I know, is, where is it? It's not here. Is it debts? We're in. I think it has something to do with the stadium. I think this is something related to the stadium money. I thought I saw it somewhere on here. I'm not seeing it now. It's pretty bad, but our projection is to come back up again if we can stay in the league, I guess, that we're in. So, like I said, I got a lot of business to do. I will be back once we know more. Well, it's still early on in the preseason, as you can see, but we are, we're winning some games for what that's worth. We are playing teams in higher leagues than us, so it's good to see us, getting some good results, I suppose. We did lose to Burnley, but I mean, oh well. We're getting some goals from Richie as our striker. That's pretty cool to see. There's a guy named George Earthy on there that got us a goal against Cheltenham, which we are trying to get. We got an offer out for him. We shall see that here in just a moment. And then, of course, this guy, Rob Heckman, who was our third in line for our striker. I went ahead and gave him some time in that last game just to give him a little bit of something. And he actually picked up a goal in that one, so that's pretty good to see. One thing we do have hurting us right now is we have a lot of injuries. Pollock is injured. There's a guy here on trial, Oyedel, I think. Is he still on trial? Yeah, he's on trial for a few more days. I mean, he's looking all right. I mean, he looks like he could be a really good pickup for us. Can play midfield or defensive midfield. I mean, he can also play across his entire right-hand side as well as attacking midfield. Very flexible player. there's a good chance we might try to go grab him. We shall see. There's a guy named Alfie King here who we did pick up. He's 2-star, could go as high as 4-star on his potential ability. Maybe not the best player in the world, but only 21 years of age. We didn't have to pay anything up front for him, and his wage is pretty low. So at this point, we're just rolling the dice. That's really all it is. We're rolling the dice to see who ends up being good, and whoever's not, they move on at that point. A couple other guys, as you can see, a couple other names you probably aren't familiar with, although we do have several names here that you are familiar with. Kai Jones Vickers, Brooke, and then, of course, this new guy, Chizoba, which is our new left back. He's thankfully coming back from a pulled groin there. Sekdev, he's on trial right now, looking really good as a central defender or right back. Would like to try and get him in here. He's coming back from an injury. And, of course, Matt Harrington has been here before. Obviously has a lot of potential coming back from injury as well. So lots of injuries in this preseason. I mean, we are training pretty hard, but I'm not training them so hard that they are, I'm keeping them at medium. The only guys that are heavy are people that I don't have any control over right now. So everybody else is at medium. So they're not really training like super, super hard, but they are training a lot of days, like every day. So just an adjustment, I'm for sure, for some of these guys. And the more they train, the less likely they are to get injured long-term, even if they do potentially pick up some injuries in the short term. So we shall see. It's actually just my regular season things, but my preseason one looks like that. Lots of endurance training, lots of resistance training, quickness training, all sorts of stuff. So that is that. We still have some money, a little bit, not a lot, but, and I've been kind of just avoiding this. We got a transfer offer for somebody that we would like to have kept, but the transfer offer is almost too good to pass up. So somebody came in for Jones. They actually came in for about 140,000 pounds and maybe going up to like 250 maybe. We pushed him up to 475 because his current value has him at, I think 425. And so we pushed him up to 475 total with a 30%, I think, next, sell on clause or whatever it is. We'll see. I would love to keep Harry Jones, but at this stage of the game, I don't know that any of our players are worth, that much to us. I mean, we've got to sell the players that we can when we can. $475,000 is enough money to pay off a big chunk of that, as well as get us some other players coming in here. And honestly, Harry Jones originally came from just a player that has some potential and lived up to it. So that's going to be our life for the next couple seasons at the very least, if not longer, is just try to sell on players for massive profits. I mean, how much did we bring Harry Jones on for originally? Yeah, we brought him in on a free. So, I mean, a guy that came on a free, if we can get $475 for him, $475,000 for him, I should say. I mean, obviously that's much better than the Salisbury deal. Learning from my mistakes, I guess. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know if that happens. And obviously if that happens, we've got to get some other players in here. We do have some other options at that right back spot. Obviously we already talked about the one. So we'll see. More work to be done. We still got a couple more friendlies up, a couple more weeks until the first game of the season. So, and I haven't even reached out to my director of football yet to get anything yet, because I've been able to get a bunch of stuff so far. Once this stuff settles down, I'll start reaching out to my director of football. In fact, actually probably this week, I will be reaching out to my director of football to get me some other options on transfer side of things. And then we'll hold off on we may get some options for loan later. So there we go. We'll be back when there's more news. All right, so here he goes. Jones going to Rotherham. And like I said, we got a 30% profit from next sale, which, you never know. We got some per league appearances and after league appearances, things like that. And of course the 400K up front. Rotherham is where are they at? They're in League One. So they're only a league ahead of us. But I just don't think we can pass up on an offer like this. None of our players is worth this much to keep around. Again, I do wish I had kept Salisbury and sold him for something more like this, but I made a mistake. I mean, I shouldn't beat myself up too much about that because there's nothing I can do about it. But at least I've learned, and I think this is a really good deal for Harry Jones here, and really, really helps our financial situation a lot. So I also have a bunch of trial players that I brought in here. So we'll take a look at those. Let's take a look at this wonderful, beautiful. I went ahead and terminated anybody that was not, where we wanted them to be. So a bunch of these guys I brought in. The moment I saw what their potential and current ability was, I'm like, nope, gone. So I got rid of a bunch of these guys as well. We still have several coming in. There's Harry Jones. Goodbye. So sad. Harkin looks like he's not super happy about that, but I mean, we can't pass up that. I mean, you cannot pass that up. That doubles. I mean, how much does that actually do? We're at 14,000. If I were to put all this money over here, I mean, it's such a massive increase in our budget right now. In fact, we are going to go ahead and move a little bit of it over. I'm going to go ahead and get us up to about 16K. I mean, I'm not expecting to use that much, but I just want to make sure we have enough to negotiate with here. That's a lot more budget. A lot more budget. Do we actually see where we are yet? It's not started officially yet, has it? No. Still can't see, unfortunately. But, I mean, it's going to get us at least better, right? Better off. Let's go ahead and discuss with Harkin. Unfortunately, okay, he's okay that we came to him. How are these guys that we just brought in looking? Let's see here. Let's go look at our squad. Overall potential. I mean, there's Oyadale. He's up there. Sakdev. We got him in there, so we already knew about him. And here's the new string that we just brought in. Gunter, Thompson, Collins, McKay. I mean, one's a goalkeeper. 3-star current. Thompson, midfielder, looks good. 2 goalkeepers are here, actually. Collins and Gunter. And then we've got a right back here, which we definitely need to replace. What's his name? The guy we just don't even remember his name anymore. I'm just kidding, Jones. Norton's in here as a striker. I mean, he's only 4.5 stars here. So we'll have to take a look at him. And some of this will flesh itself out as they get in here and do some stuff. Honestly, Callum Wilson here, even though it's only 4 stars, I mean, the one game we played him and he got 7.3. He looks like a guy that might be worth keeping around. Again, get him on a free to make up for the Jones loss. That seems like a reasonable transition to me. Now we can only have 22 players in our squad that are above the age of 21. That's why it's good that most of our players are below, or like maybe not most, but a big chunk of our players are below 21. So we do have that in our benefit. I don't know. I think that was worth it for sure. We shall see, but more to come. I'll let you guys know when there's more stuff. All right. Unfortunately, George Earthy here did end up signing with Lincoln. I mean, we can't compete with that. Maybe we can now with the new money that we just got in, but they're a League One team, so hard to compete with that. It is what it is. We're moving from our short list, and we'll get back to the drawing board. I just want to make sure you guys updated on that one. It is what it is. All right. Today is the first game of our new season here in League 2. I'm not sure how I feel about it. We'll find out. But we do have a decent team, and we definitely have a better team than we had last year. So that's something, I suppose. But here's what we're looking at. Again, we're going to try primarily to play this defensive midfielder formation, but we do still have the 4-2-3-1 in place, and we have players that can play as shadow strikers or whatever we want them to play as if we want to move things around. So primarily, honestly, it looks like Charles may end up being our primary striker. He is going to be here to play as the shadow striker if we play that formation, in which case Richie would move up to that front spot. But I think for now, Charles is going to play at the front. Richie's going to be our primary on the right-hand side, so both of them can play in the game. They're both very, very good players, obviously. So Charles maybe primarily. We've got a few younger players, Heckman, Vickers, that could kind of play around there, although Vickers can also play in the midfield. Pollock and Coyote are pretty much not going to feature unless we just absolutely have to. If we had to get down to one of these two guys, we would play St. Louis instead because he's got a lot more potential ahead of him. So that's kind of where we're looking at there. On the right-hand side, like I said, primarily Richie, Jones, Harkin, and this young guy, Allen, are also options. Although I have got Allen out for a potential loan. I've got Pollock and Coyote out for trying to get some loans for them. So we're trying to get some of these guys out to get just some more development. If we're not going to be playing them, maybe we can get them sold on at some point. On the left-hand side, it's going to be probably the weakest side of things. For now, we're going to be playing Gilsonen, but Moore and Nuttall will be featuring quite a bit. Obviously, Moore probably should be featuring more than... Honestly, we might actually play Moore more often than not because he's got a lot more potential than any of the other guys. So I might actually change my mind about what I'm going to do here, especially since Gilsonen is not on a contract. If he starts being good for us, it's not worth anything to us. So I actually might swap that around in my tactic here in just a moment. In the midfield, we have Brooke Campbell as our primary two. Oyadel will be probably one of our backup guys, with Alfie King in here as well. Alfie King, a little bit of potential, not a ton, but unfortunately those two guys are currently injured. We also have Gilligan and Oyadel back here. Actually, yeah, that's fine. It's okay that he's up there as well. because Aykroyd will also play in the midfield from time to time, and we'll see a little bit of that. Oyedell's actually injured today, so that's part of the reason why he will, or at least he's coming back from an injury. We probably will not be playing him in this first game. Gilligan is our primary defensive midfielder. He looks like a pretty good player overall. With Oyedell or Aykroyd can play behind him. A little bit of mixture around with some of this. They have other players that I'm not on the list right here that can play in this spot. For example, Clark can play in the midfield. We know that. Who else do we have? Is it Jones? Yeah, Jones can play in the midfield. Allen can play in the midfield. So we've got other players that can play around here if we absolutely need them to, if we get into some injury situations. But for now, those are our primary two, Brooke and Campbell, with Gilligan behind them. On the left-hand side, we do have Chizoba, which, he's only 2.5 stars, but he's looking pretty decent. I feel like we have a good potential with him, and I think Matt Harrington behind him, with a lot of potential as well, is looking pretty good. We have a couple guys on trial, as you can see, that I'm not sure if they're going to work out or not. Actually, I think they've already left, so I'm not sure. No, I guess they leave in a few days. On the right-hand side, we have Wilson as our primary, with Clark behind him. We are trying to get some more players in here. I've got some more I'm looking at for like loans and stuff like that. In the central defender roles, we actually have this new guy, Zito, we just picked up. He's got 3.5 star current ability, 4-star potential, 24 years old. It's a little bit older than maybe some of the other guys we've been going after, but he does hold down for all intents and purposes, he's probably the best player we have in this spot. We did pay $50K for him, just flat out, nothing extra on there, no frills, just a flat $50K for him. He's been playing in the League 2 for a little bit. Not a lot, and maybe not the best player, but he's better than what we got. So we're going to try him out here. We got Brown, Hayes Green, and Holding and McAvoy behind him if we absolutely need to move some stuff around. In goalkeeper, we're going to start McNabb. He's got so much potential. Now, if his potential starts to realize and find out he's only a 4-star player, we might change our mind. But as long as we think he might be a 5-star player, we want to give him some opportunities here. He's worth more than either of the two guys combined. Blair becomes our backup, and we're going to try and get Gunter out on loan. New guy Gunter here, which I don't know if I've showed you him yet or not. Just to get him out on loan, at best, we can get him out there and get him some development, and we can sell him on for something, if we never use him ourselves. At worst, we got him on a free, and we didn't pay much for him. So that is where we're at overall. So like I said, transfers, if you look at the history, a bunch of frees, except for Zito. And considering we sold Harry Jones for $400K and we bought Zito for $50, even if Zito ends up being a flop, I think that's an okay piece of business. We still have a little bit of money left over to some degree. We did move a lot of it to the wage budget, so we're up to $19,000 here in the wage budget if we need it. We only have $136,000 left in the transfer budget, but we're not really trying to go for transfers that cost us money up here. We're really going for people that need the wage budget. I had a guy that I was looking at. I offered the team as much as £180,000 for him, and they were adamant they wanted 200. I'm like, you're really not going to budge from 200. That was ridiculous. So it is what it is. He was going to be a really, really good player. I think he was a right back, if I remember right. Really, really good player, but that's okay. There was another player that we offered some money to. He wanted 1.7K per week. The most our board would allow us to offer was 1.2. I tried to give him some other frills and fluffs, and he wouldn't budge. So we didn't pick him up. He was going to be a really good, solid central defender, but that's okay. Projection is looking pretty bad, honestly, but that's not our fault. That's just whatever that loan is or whatever they did, that debt that we have here. Transfer debt is basically nothing. So it really isn't anything that we have any control over, but I don't know, feeling pretty good about the team. A lot of potential up here. Considering we have that much 5-star potential and none of those are loans, if we can start making these guys realize even half that potential, at worst, we can sell these guys for some money. At best, we have a really good team that we can look forward to. So we're going to be trying to do some of that, but that is that. Here's the team we're going to be bringing to the first game. We're going to, like I said, play McNabb in goal, Chizoba on the left, Wilson on the right, Hayes, Green, and Zito in the middle, Gilligan ahead of them with Aykroyd and Campbell in front of that. I said Gilson initially, but I think I actually am going to change him over to Moore. Moore just has so much more potential. Now, he hasn't played super, super well. Nuttall actually played better in preseason. We're going to start Moore. I really need our youngsters to see if they have even a remote chance of developing into something worth anything, then we need to get that development started right away. And the best way to get development is to play in some games. Richie on the right-hand side and Charles as our striker up front. And it's a pretty solid looking team. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Is it good enough to win? Not win, obviously, but is it good enough to beat 2 other teams in this league? That's all we got to do. We just got to be the third from the bottom. I think we can be third from the bottom. I think we're good enough for that. If we go look at the competitions, I think they still have us as second from the bottom. Yeah, second from the bottom, but not too far off from Newport. And historically, we're pretty good at overachieving. So I would say if we can get top 20, I would feel pretty happy about that, because all we really need to do is avoid relegation this season, and hopefully our board can give us more money next season to do something. But at the very least, at least we're pro now. Like I said, I've harped on that quite a bit. We're pro now, so we can actually start developing our players, getting some of these youngsters into a position where they are developing and growing. And that's probably going to be our biggest source of money coming in, is developing youngsters and selling them on for a few $100,000. I mean, that's a really good way to make some money. So we'll see what we can do. I'm pretty excited about this team, though. I'll be honest, and pretty more than anything. Maybe not so much the team itself. I'm pretty excited about just being in this league and finally being professional and seeing what we can do with that. So we shall see. Do we have any key players on here? Charles and Richie. I'm not surprised about that, actually. So looking pretty good there. Other than that, really not much else to say. Like I said, we still have money, but there's just not a lot of players out there. We're trying to pick up a couple of loans, like I said, right now. In fact, we can go look at those in a bunch of rejected trials and stuff like that, so ignore those. We got Stevenson. Actually, looks like we have 3 loans that I put out for. None of them require any wage at all, which is awesome. So we got Stevenson that would be a good central defender here, 3-star. He can also play defensive midfielder if we absolutely need to, or midfielder. Technically, he could play left back, but not very likely that's going to happen. So, maybe solid player that gives at least some rotation, or who knows, maybe he's a starter. Johnson comes here, but probably takes over as the right back, honestly, or defensive midfielder. Either one of those spots. It's good to see somebody like him that can pick up some stuff. I was going to say, I recognize Johnson. I didn't recognize him when I asked Wigan to give him back to me, send him back to me. I was like, wait a minute. I was like looking at his face. I was like, I know this guy. I recognize him. All right, well, there you go. So Johnson can come back. Did he play amazingly well for us? Not really. Was he terrible? No. So we'll see what he can do. He's better than nothing at this point. And again, he's free. Completely free. Doesn't cost us a penny. So might as well bring him on here. And then we got Rashad Lloyd here, who is a really good midfielder, actually. He would be a starter for us, I think, at this point, if we can bring him in here. So definite starter, possible starter, at least rotation player. So 3 very good options there, I think. We're trying to get Allen out on a loan. He is one of our attacking midfielders on the right-hand side. Get him out, get some development. And hopefully, like I said, get some of these other guys out there as well. So there we go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, new league, new troubles, new problems, because these guys are good. These teams are going to be tough, but new opportunities as well. And I'm pretty excited about a lot of those. Looking forward to seeing what we can do. And you know what? It would be amazing if Salisbury could get sold on. Salisbury. Yeah, Preston. If somebody could come along and give them, £3 million for Salisbury, I would be ecstatic about that. That would be amazing. Because again, isn't it? It's 40% of the profit they make, right? So let's say they gave him $3 million and we sold him for what, $60K? So effectively, let's just ignore this. I mean, it's a £3 million profit at that point, right? And we get 40% of that. Yes, please. Now they might not sell him ever because of that little tidbit thrown in there, quite frankly. But if they ever did, that would pay for a big chunk of money. So that would be amazing. That would make up for the fact that we sold him for so cheap, and I regret that. That would absolutely make up for that in one fell swoop. That would be amazing. So we'll see. Maybe someday. But yeah, there we go, guys. I do appreciate you guys watching. A little bit longer episode, but I was trying to, we're getting into league play. This is a lot more important, a lot more critical than just a bunch of, the non-league stuff. You're just throwing together whatever team you can get together. Now we're really trying to start focusing on developing players and the future of what this team's going to end up being for the long haul. So a little bit more time spent. So hopefully that's okay with you guys, but I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you. And I hope you join me again next time. Thank you and goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to the following channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.